Hi, thank you for joining early. Hi, thank you everyone. Tipsy Organic Skincare. I see you, my sister. How are you all doing? Happy Sunday. I will be hosting. Happy Sunday, Kichiku. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everyone. It's nice to have you here. We're hosting leadership coach Kemi Ogunkoya in 1 minute. So today I came late. Usually I would have come on my show like 5 minutes before, but it's motherhood. You gotta sort your children before you sort the world. So she should be joining us anytime from now, live on the show. I trust everyone had an amazing, good. Me. Right. Yes. Guest is heavy. I like it.
Hi. Hello, Esther.
How are you?
Very fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. I know I've known you for quite some time, but this is the first time that I'm seeing you live on videos. So let me sprinkle it. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much I know you're pretty busy, taking time out of your busy schedule to, do this today, share the knowledge give to your tribe and the world, it's a community. So I'm truly grateful for that. How was your week?
Very fine, thank you. It was awesome. Looking forward to a great week too. So yeah, but thank you so much for having me, Esther. And it's so nice to connect with you.
Same here. So what were some of the leadership highlights of your week? Did I mean that?
Yeah, quite a number, and it was a week filled with a lot of coaching, quite a number of speaking engagements, and it was also a week for me to also just take stock, which is something that I do regularly, and just something that I started recently, which is called influence audit. Where I just take stock on how much I have taken in, and some of the major changes I've noticed and see where they're coming from.
Amazing. So how does this influence audit, how does it work? You audit yourself, you audit your public personality, you audit people. How does it work?
So it's more of an internal job, so I just take stock of, okay, so behaviors, are there things that have changed, are there things that I'm liking? Where's it coming from? Did I see it from somewhere? Did I hear from somebody? Am I picking new interest? So just pretty much just helping me stay connected with self and be sure that, because when we look at influence, sometimes you're influenced by things you're not conscious of, right? So you know how they say, it a kind of go where I don't know, right? So we want to be sure that we're together, body, mind, and soul. So yeah, so that's pretty much how it works, and it's been such a powerful tool.
Yeah, amazing. Speaking on, being influenced by things we don't know, I saw a tweet by Emotions Doctor, when you consult Alabi a few weeks ago, last week, where she talked about how the sad incident of the Nigerian artist who lost the son had impacted the whole nation, and that we are all connected than we try to admit. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, like we consume all this information, but then when things happen and everybody is sober, then you realize, whoa, this is actually a situation that is affecting me because I'm on the internet. I have probably seen this boy's picture. I've probably seen his parents once. So yes to influence audit. Thank you for that. I think I'll do one of those. One of these days. So thank you once again for coming, guys. This is the amazing and powerful Kemi Ogunkoya. Kemi is a respected leadership coach, a leadership development strategist, management consultant. She's an author. She's also an alumni of the University of Oxford and a member of Forbes Business Council. I mean, the moment I posted your bio on Facebook just a few minutes ago, my friend came and said, Esther, Forbes Business Council, please, how can I be part of it? All these big people. And I said, these women, you know, they work their way to the top. These things don't just land on their laps. Like, you're not going to sit in your house and somebody just going to give you a title. You've got to be visible. You've got to see that you're making it where it matters. So I mean, she's going to join. So I asked her, I said, listen up, join to see what she's made of. That woman is full of knowledge and all that. So thank you very much. So my first question for you today, Kemi, it sounds simple, but we need to actually know who a leader is. Who is a leader? Yeah.
All right. Great question. I'm glad that we're starting off from there. So before I go to defining who a leader is, I think it's important that we first understand the concept of leadership in itself. Okay. And when we talk about leadership in itself is a process of social influence, which maximizes the effort of others towards the achievement of a goal. Okay, so we call it the process of social influence, which maximizes the efforts of others. So which means it's not a one-man job, and it's towards the achievement of a particular goal, towards the achievement of a particular objective, whatever the case may be. So a leader is the person who pretty much engineers that social influence. Okay, and I know that in the past, when we talk about who a leader is or the concept of leadership in itself, we have looked from the lens point of certain, definitions that are centuries, down the line and all of that. And great work that has been done to put together the essence of leadership. But I think we need to start to step out of some of those constructs and start to understand that leadership in itself is a combination of various elements, okay? And a combination of elements such as the understanding of our strengths, because all of these play a very critical role for us to understand the place of social influence and the ability to drive people towards the achievement of a particular goal, result, as the case may be. So the combination of elements that include awareness of your strengths, your weaknesses, your motivation, your passion, your purpose, your triggers, your emotions, your beliefs, your processes, your systems, all of these come together, your personality, right? All of this come together to birth that person that we can refer to as a leader. Now, when we also look at leadership or who a leader is, over the years, there has been beliefs around, okay, so a leader is born, a leader is made. And, I'd just like us to understand that, yes, there are certain traits that can help or position some people, or make them suited or more suited into certain roles. But a leader, has to go through a process of refinement. Okay, a leader has to go through a process of refinement to become that leader. So a leader is not a title that that is a role or a job like you being a manager. It's actually something that you earn. Okay, it's not an award. It's not a position. It's not a birthright. It's not an office. You earn leadership, and a leader is that person who is able to mobilize people towards that particular action through influence, not by force. Not by carrying stick and shouting at the top of your voice. It is you understanding the place of influence, and when we talk about who a leader is clear about their influence, they're clear about who they are, and they're clear about the results that they want to achieve.
Amazing, powerful. I love the part where you said it is earned. And that, of course, would lead me to my next question. We've seen a lot of leadership coach. Like I can measure like 100 bios of people calling themselves leadership coach, right? So my question is, how do we identify who a leadership coach is? And when I say identify, I'm not talking about people who just have that as a title. People who have earned it. So how do we identify the traits of a leadership coach? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think pretty much, right? It would be through, and I'd like to just clarify quite a number of things. And when we look at certain spaces, there's some spaces that have pretty much what we'll call a low barrier to entry. So I think even beyond the leadership space, you can find people, as business coaches, you have people as relationship coaches. And, if there's a low barrier to entry, like I say, spaces can get really cluttered. And, there's quite a number of things that people can throw around. But I think beyond that would be, to see character, right? To see results. I think beyond the fun fair, how are you able to help people move from where they are to where they want to be? How are you able to create longing changes, transformation in the life of people? How are they also able to go beyond the place of self and then be able to develop other people, to pour into other people, right? So I think that quite a number of things to look at. It would be in terms of the result, it would be in terms of character. It would be in terms of people being able to, live what they preach, right? And I think that makes a significant difference. So if you're saying that you are a coach, we should see it, we should see evidence of coaching in your life, and sometimes I joke about this a lot, and I said that if truly we practiced, a tenth of the things we put out there, our lives will significantly be different. So those are the three things I think that people should look out for. Look at experience, look at track record, look at character, look at competence, and then look at the life of the person who is on the pedestal.
Amazing. That's true. Because I think the internet, especially Instagram, has given the world a facade, right? Where when you read the person's bio, you just run with it without trying to understand the content beyond the package. So like you rightly said, we need to see the traits, what makes you a coach. And I think people should also ask questions. So it's not enough to see somebody a bio without you asking questions. It's safe to ask questions from, a place, of course, of respect and also understanding boundaries. So thank you so much for that. Now, I want to talk about the Leadership X app, your app. I've been hearing a lot about it. And what is it all about? What changes do you hope that, this app would make in the society, especially amongst the youth?
All right. Amazing question. So, I'll start with a little story, how we got here. So I've been in the space for quite a while, and, I've gotten to work with individuals, I've gotten to work across, different organizations, across industries. And, a lot of times you see that people genuinely want to become better, okay? They genuinely want to become better. They genuinely want to impact their own lives and, improve processes. They want to become better leaders. They want to become better parents. They just want to do more, right? And we understand that doing more and being more, it's way more than a desire. It's way more than a wish. There has to be some level of action. There has to be commitment, and all of these do not just come easy. So we in the course of interaction, saw that genuinely people wanted to be better. And, why we were able to identify that, and then we had quite a number of interventions already. we also realized that people struggled, right? And the struggle was pretty much in three major areas. People and organizations alike, some struggled with time to get better, right? So, we live in an interesting world. So many demands. You're trying to get a hang of this, and then there's something else presented. You're trying to juggle family, build a career, get a life, right? And then all of this comes at you all at the same time. So people genuinely wanted to get better. They wanted to achieve better results professionally, but then there was a challenge of time. Some organizations, on the other hand, also wanted to do more for their people, but they couldn't afford them stepping out for like a month, a week, sometimes even 3 days to go for a training, right? So one of the issues was that of time. And then the other challenge was that of finances. So when we look at, trying to get into a program, go on a course, leadership trainings, like quality leadership trainings and interventions don't come cheap, right? So we're looking at like, if we're even going to put it like in Naira, you'll be spending some thousands, right, to get it. And if you want to cost in dollars, you can spend, close to $35,000 to get quality leadership information and all of that. And so there was also the challenge of, finances. Personally, people felt, you know what, I don't have this money, but then I want to grow, but I can't afford it. Organizations do budget issues and all of that. So that was also a challenge. And then there was a challenge of access. So many information out there, no doubt, but then people were swimming in a lot of information. They didn't even know where to start from, which is verified, which, can help me. Then somebody says, okay, wake up in the morning, take a glass of water. Another person says, no, don't take a glass of water, right? So many conflicting information. And we put it all together and we saw that, these are huge challenges, right? And research had already shown to us that about 90% of people know that they will significantly improve their results, personally and professionally, when they're able to develop their leadership skills. So we looked at it and said, okay, so what can we do, right? We're doing training, we're doing coaching. What else can we do to pretty much democratize the essence of leadership development? And that was how we brought Leaderx, which was now infusing tech, into leadership development, and now making sure that we sorted the problem of time. Because with Leaderx, what we have done is that with as little as 5 minutes a day, people can actually have access to leadership development information, tools that can help them grow in real time. Anywhere, anytime. You just need your phone, you need access to the internet, and then you have information every day. And the problem of time, you don't need 10 hours, right? You just need as little as 5 minutes to get your basic knowledge. And then what we also did was to ensure that people can learn in different ways, right? So they have access to daily quotes, lessons, nuggets. They have access to book summaries. They have access to a community. They have access to, mood music. So we did it in such a way that whether you are a visual learner or acoustic learner or auditory learner, you're kinesthetic, you find something to grow. And then we also dealt with the problem of access, So we thought about it. How do we make this part of a lifestyle? How do we make leadership a lifestyle rather than an act that people now say, oh, now I have to be a leader, get into character. And then remind them, no. When to make it part of a lifestyle so that, it just becomes second nature for people. And that's what we're able to do with Leaderx, and, brought it very close to the people. Access on, the stores, Google, iOS, and then they can just become better. And okay, so I think I'll say hi, Nancy, right? The audio feature, right? So you're in traffic, anywhere you are, it's not a problem. I can't read. There's the audio feature. You can listen to book summaries. You can listen to lessons on the go, and it's just really amazing.
Yeah, beautiful. And does it come at a cost?
Yeah, so there's a free pathway, because like I said, But what we are doing with LeaderX is to be able to democratize leadership so that nobody has an excuse. Because, we say it all rises and falls on leadership. Be it at home, be it in the workplace. We see a lot of things breaking down. We see, systems breaking down, all on the back of, or on the shoulder of. There's a free version of the app where you get, basic content. So we have the basic version, and then we have the plus version. And with the plus version, you have access to every feature of the app, from the book summaries to the mood music to, the daily nuggets, code lessons, affirmation, to the community. And, the experience is just, it's just amazing.
Good. And what were some of the challenges? Because I must, I imagine the kind of work that went into all of this. Building a habit is not child's play, from what I know. So what were some of the challenges you encountered while you were trying to build a habit? How did you navigate those challenges?
Okay. So the idea of LeaderX had come to me about 3 years ago, but you know how they say that, when an idea comes to you, it's not fully formed. So we just had an idea, and then I got into it. I spoke to someone about it, and the person, yes, we can do that, and then we started it. And, a few days ago, I was looking at what we did then, and I'm like, Father Lord, I'm so grateful for learnings, right? Because it's nothing close to what we were able to, how the product itself has been refined. But, I look back and I'm like, we started with something, right? So there was a challenge of even having understanding of how the tech ecosystem operated, at that time. And, that would also lead me to just talk about some things in that space too. So there was no understanding of how the tech ecosystem, I didn't even understand that there was a community as such, and the power of such communities, right? I didn't know about that. Then finding the right resource, I didn't know about, so you have front-end developer, back-end developer, and all of that. I just spoke with someone at that point, and then, no, we can't do it, right? And it was as naive as it could be. But we birthed something, right? So now coming into this phase of, okay, I now step belonging into. So sometimes last year I got on the Women in Tech community, and I'm the programs director for the Nigerian chapter. The Women in Tech is in about 100 and I think over 110 countries already, and I think the beautiful thing was how we were able to now gain access to these communities, right? The power of connection, the power of knowledge within these communities, it absolutely transformed the game, so it wasn't a problem of, I didn't even know who to talk to or people bamboozling you. I had access to communities where I could ask questions, I could get referrals. And another beautiful thing about the app is that it's 100% indigenous. It was built by Nigerian developers. All the entire team is 100% Nigerian. So it was kind of difficult getting the right people, but I'm so grateful to each and every member of the team because, they brought their A game, and that just made me know that quite a number of the things that we look for outside, right? We have those talents, we have those, we have those skills, we have those people, we have the resources that we require within. So I think those were some of the challenges. And then getting out of the, building phase, of course, it's still a lot of work in progress, but getting out of that zone of coming from ideation to better having the app go live. There was the challenge of, okay, how do you even, market? It was a new space for me. There was a lot of learning that had to go in, but it's been a great experience. It's been a great experience.
Amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. Just listening to you alone, I'm visualizing like, okay, that's a lot of work. And then the back end app did it. Maybe at
No,
some
but
point,
it's been a beautiful experience. It's
I
been a
can imagine.
beautiful experience.
I can
Lots of
imagine.
learning,
Yes,
lots
I
of
was going to
learning.
say
You know,
that.
as I Esther, you know how in your mind you're used to, oh, this way, you know, I got this done, you get everybody, you know, I learned how
Yeah.
to be patient, right? In the process of building, right? Developers will humble you. Okay. They will humble you. So, you know, there are times where I was like, okay, we need to get working
Hi,
around,
Kemi. I think
you
our
know,
network. Yeah.
we're working with deadlines, and at some point, you know, one of the developers on my team just disappeared, right?
Oh my
And it was because I was putting so much pressure on him, and he was working at night. I didn't know how it operated at that point. So I then got to understand, oh, developers, you know, a lot of people work at night, so they don't wake up until about 10 or maybe 12 at 8:30, you know. It was a whole lot of learning. It was a whole lot of, you know, just humbling yourself to say, okay, how do we move forward? What works for you? What works for the team? Then
Oh
get
my
to that point of understanding. But great
God.
learning.
And speaking of the developer that went MIA, one thing I know about tech people is when they are tired, they shut down. They don't like
Mm.
small talk.
Tell me.
They don't have
Tell
time. They
me.
don't like being stalked. They like to do things in their own time. So when the
Yeah,
pressure
yeah,
comes, instead of trying to communicate, they go into ghost mode and try to do the work on
yeah,
ghost mode. So come back up and
yeah.
deliver. Like, okay, calm down. They don't even want the back and forth and the disturbing and the no. I can't time. When we are focused, we are focused. So,
Absolutely.
but beyond all that, I want to say well done. We
Thank
need
you.
this kind of energy. We need for young women to hear stories like this and to know that Rome was not built in a day. There is no aspire to perspire without hard work. So these are the
True,
stories that
true.
need to be told, and I'm glad that you shared that story. Gosi
Thank you.
she has a question, and she says, "How can you manage a male colleague who doesn't want to respect you because you are his female line manager he reports to?" Okay, that's a gender thing at work. But then I'll let the coach dig into that. Please, Kemi, kindly answer
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I missed the last part of the question, so I'm just going to go. Okay. So because you are his female line manager and he reports to you. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Incredible question, Godse, and it's interesting that quite a number of women, may be dealing with that in different ways, different expression. And here's what I always like to start with when addressing situations like this, right? And it is to understand that, so when we started the session, I spoke about the place of me having influence audits,
Yes.
and it's for us to understand that how people behave is a function of quite a number of things. It's a function of nature, there's a place of nurture, and then some people get to probably what they have seen, the experiences that they have had, behave in certain ways, which we may not be familiar with. And you're wondering, why would you behave like this? But then when we understand that, what breeds our behavior or the kind of behaviors we exhibit, would also be greatly influenced by, will greatly be a product of what influences us, then we'll be able to know where people are coming from. So if I usually say that when we have such situations, really want to understand where that person is coming from. They might have grown up in environments where maybe their mom was never allowed to open her mouth to express herself. So now coming to the workplace and now saying, oh, I now have to report to a woman, like how? Who is she? What does she know? Right? So yeah, so it's important to know where people are coming from, and I say that would converse through it, right? Would go on a journey. I want to know where you're coming from, So a lot of times there's also assumption on the part of the ladies where every behavior, every action, every inaction is being said that, hey, he doesn't want to respect me, right? Because we've had a lot of things about people don't respect women. So you're on the edge naturally, or, without being triggered in any form. So I always say that the place to start from is we can ask questions about where is this coming from, right? Is this really what it is, or what makes me feel this way about this person? Okay. And then when you identify that this is, this person's behavior, this person is, probably exhibiting this particular behavior because of so, then I want to engage and, help them understand, okay, this is what I identified, this is what I noticed, do you have any challenge working with women? Do you have any, and then we can actually come to the place of, talking about it, and then we can come to a place of possible resolution. But there are times that we may also not be able to help such individuals, right? But it shouldn't come from the place of assumption of their behavior. Rather, let's come from the place of engagement. Let's come from the place of awareness. Let's come from the place where we can, step into their shoes, be emotionally aware, be emotionally intelligent, and then, we can now see the best way to deal with such a situation. Because sometimes you're dealing with a person who has maybe 30, 55 years of rage or anger, or mistrust, right? Or trauma. So you can't with a magic wand just take it away from them. It's part of their life, it's part of their identity. So you need to know where they're coming from, meet the conversations, and then see how you can get to a place of understanding.
Absolutely. And I like the way you broke it down. That's the point that I am at in terms of, measuring his behavior and passing people grace, because I think that is one thing that's really missing in the world. So instead of quick judgment, sometimes you got to step back, like you said, to understand, ask questions. Funny enough, you might actually find out a lot, and you would even learn from that person when you are speaking from the place of empathy. Because the person who does not want to report, or want to report to a female line manager, has some underlying issues that you cannot see, and he's ready to fight. He's ready for anything. So the best way, like Kemi said, Toby, is to just try and see how you can get around that person, and just try and be human enough to ask the right questions. Don't do it from the woman thing, like because these men don't want to bend already. So so thank you so much, Kemi, for that. I want to ask you, this one is a bit personal, because I usually read from coaches on Facebook when I see some posts where they would say, oh, as a leader, there are certain boundaries. Someone said something, and I took, I took it in, and that is accessibility and availability. So now, the leader, coming from a society where people readily want you to be there, right? How do we build healthy boundaries without coming off as inaccessible or coming off as not kind or nice?
Yeah, all right. So, there's a lot of assumption that when we talk about leadership, we're talking about, the burden bearer of the entire world, that as a leader, you carry the entire world on your shoulders. You always have to be there, almost like we're driving the expectation of leadership towards demigods, right? So they have to always be there. They always have to. And that's why we're experiencing a lot of burnout, where some leaders believe that, they always have to be there. They can fix all the problems of the world. They when every call is made, they need to answer it. That's I feel that's a whole lot of burden to bear. It's itself, and it's actually making a lot of leaders remain in unhealthy places, under pressure, unfulfilled, frustrated, depressed, and not really achieving what they want to achieve. So personally for me, I know that, I usually need time to step out and step in. So when you look at the function or the role of coaching, it is really intensive, right? Sometimes you're coaching and you're taking on the burden of your coaching. There are times that you go to certain coaching sessions and you may need a day, 2, 3 to recover because, it's like something has been thrown at you. You just feel that burden. You hear things sometimes that your heart breaks into 50 pieces. You need time to get yourself. And, I think it's important that coaches do not take on the job of, of the supernatural, right? They don't take up the job of the supernatural. You need to understand that you're human, and as human, there's certain processes, right? Biological processes, physiological processes, emotional processes that you also have to regard. Okay, so it's not for you to solve the problems of the world totally. You can't even take on that. So you have to be able to create safe places for yourself. You need time to be able to revigorate. You need time to be able to think. You need time to be able to refresh yourself, refresh your mind. And that brings us to the place of systems, and processes, and also raising other people, that can stand in your place. Okay, it's not for you to do everything. So, like when I first started out, they were standing. Oh, like if you're not there, the thing won't happen, right? The session won't happen, and then you have coaches say, we want you. But that's a place of processes. Right, that's the place of creating structures where you can now step back and then that you have impacted, and then they can carry on the job. So coaches need to be able to step back, create boundaries. All the boundaries, they need to be clear about what is important to them, and they also need coaches to ensure that they are aligned. They need coaching. So it's not because I see like the moment you step into coaching, sometimes you just feel you now become uncoachable, right? Nobody what they want to tell you, but you in fact is the time where you need to be coached yourself because you're constantly pouring out. Right. So you also want to be fed, you also want to be poured into, and then you also want to ensure that you're not, going out of line. So take a time to step back, take time to reflect, take time to consider what is really important to you. Do not be ashamed or embarrassed to create boundaries, to say, what, I unfortunately do not have this time in my calendar, or set calendars around times, okay, but do not feel like you have to take on everything, and be kind to yourself. And also,
the last part is very, very important. And I hope that those who watch on YouTube, because this is going to be posted on my YouTube channel, would actually take on that last part. Kindness to self is actually missing in the world. That's the truth. Most of us have been raised to be kind to the world, but then not to ourselves. So that is very, very important, especially leaders. You want to keep pouring and pouring and pouring. And then you burn out. There is nothing more to pour. And in that moment, you realize, wait, I forgot myself, and then, it becomes hard for you to step back, because here you've raised people who are looking up to you. You need to keep pouring, but then in the process of pouring, you are not pouring into yourself. So it's very important to, to be kind to yourself, and of course, to be kind to the other person around you. And that leads me to the last question for today, Kemi, which is, as a leader and a woman, right? How do we really make the word, and I keep asking people, women supporting women, count? Because people feel like women supporting women has to be the open show of love. I have a different ideology, right? So I want to hear from you. When it comes to you being a leader, how do you raise other women in creating rooms for them? and how do that metamorphose into the quote women supporting women?
Okay, very, very great question, Esther. I think the first thing I want to start with is, or the first thing I would like to start with is that women supporting women is not a myth. You know, the people who just be, it's a lie, women don't for, yeah, you know, they don't support each other. Please, you know, it's not a myth. Women actually do support each other, you know,
Yeah.
and such support does not begin and end with an outward expression. Okay, so a lot of things are going on behind the scenes. You know, so I have communities of women. I also own a community of women, and I think one of the key of that community was this narrative that women don't support women. And I looked around me and I saw the beautiful women that I was blessed with, and I saw that, you know, well, it wasn't like the money that we were sharing, right? It was the wisdom, it was the knowledge, it was, you know, telling me something that I didn't know, it was sharing an experience that I could not have bought off the shelf in a supermarket. It was, you know, nudging me and telling me, well done. And I saw that we needed more of that. So, you know, women supporting women is real, but whatever narrative you choose to hold on to becomes your reality too. So when you say, oh no, it's a lie, they don't support, you know, you'll see more of those women. You'll see more of women who will backstab. You will see more of women who, you know, will pull you down. So a lot of it also starts with the mind. Okay. So when we come to that, when we talk about support, you don't have to, it's not until you pay for my coaching or you attend my program that I'll know you support me. You know, you may support me by praying for me. You may support me, you know, by just being there, by sharing a word of advice, by encouraging me. Those are expressions of support, you know, but support doesn't have to present itself in the same way, you know, and in the same format. No. So the ideology of supporting a woman has to be, oh, she has to be the one buying all my things. She has to be buying from me. I think that is unfair expectations that we heap on ourselves and others that doesn't help us understand and appreciate the value of relationships, right? I have some women in my circle that I know that I can always talk to, right? And no matter what, it's not like they will say, oh, can we take this 10 billion? But you see the conversations that we have, those deep conversations that we have, I can buy it off the shelf anyway. So we need to start rethinking our ideology of women supporting women. We don't have to carry a banner to say, oh, yeah, my friend. You know, I have relationships that have been there for like 30 years, right? We're not always online saying, oh, you are my best friend in the whole entire. No. But I appreciate those. So I think there's an expectation of always expecting that, you know, that good is being done to you. That good is being done to you. But we now have to start looking at it as to what am I also giving? What am I giving? The more you give, the more will come back to you. You know, so I want to give love. I want to give love. And I get love. I want to show my women you know, opportunities. I'm not getting opportunities because when they find opportunities, like, oh, we know somebody. No. Kemi Ogunkoya within that community. So what are you looking out for? You know, there's a quote by Brené Brown, and you know, she said that when you go about in the world looking for evidences that you don't belong, you would find more of those evidences that you don't belong. But if you go into the world feeling that, you know what, I have a place here for me, you know, so much goodness will happen through and with and through me, you would find more of that. So I think it's important for women to, it's a narrative that has been sold, unfortunately. I don't even know which generation or which century it started, but guess what, we're replicating it, we're passing it on to other women, and then, you know, we start saying that this is my gender. It's one of my own trigger words. When I hear my gender, you know, it feels like my stomach is just going, because I'm like, you know what, we're selling a narrative and then it becomes our reality. Okay, so women are supporting women. People will be people. People will display different behaviors, and that's absolutely okay, right? What do I want to know? What do I want to be? Who do I want to become? What difference do I want to make and create from where I am? How can I support the next woman? Is it a phone call is it a phone connection? Is it just checking in to say how are you? Right? So let's start thinking about how we can be there, but beyond what you expect. Because a lot of people who come with this expectation, hey, women are not supporting. Who have you supported? I always ask, who have you supported? When was the last time you supported someone? But when you do it, it comes to you. I feel really emotional talking about this because I'm just looking within my space and seeing the incredible women, right? The incredible women in my circle. I'm not saying this. It's the truth. It's the truth. And we need to start rethinking, start, flushing whatever negative mindsets that we have around other women and start being a support to others, not just financially, but, through whatever resources, mental, emotional, psychological, financial, spiritual, God has blessed us with.
Powerful, powerful. I love the way you broke that down, and I learned something. The other day I had Coach Sam Obafemi on, and he said that, one thing we need to learn in the world that everybody's different. And that even as a coach, every day is meeting new personalities, is realizing that people come in different dimensions. People know how, people show love differently, for example. So show of love for some other people could mean, oh, you got to post about me. Oh, you got to talk about me. But for some people, they want to root for you on the back end. Like, listen, I don't have to be in your face, right? But I want to be there. So thank you so much. And speaking of women supporting women, Toby was the one that she said, hey, Miss Kemi Ogunkoya. So Toby, thank you for making this happen. One thing I always tell people, always acknowledge, it is very, very important. A lot of people do it. And so, Toby, thank you so much for making this happen.
Thank you so much.
And when the moment you mentioned, I know Kemi now. I said, yes. So let me have, it's going to be an honor to, have such a person. So everyone, this video is going to be available on my YouTube channel. And that's because we want to make it a global thing where every other person can watch the show and learn from Kemi. Kemi, before I go, kindly tell us how we can download the app. Very, very important for those who didn't join from the beginning. How can we download the Leaderxapp? Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Leaderx is available on the iOS store and then the Google Play Store. So you just type Leaderx together, no space in between, Leaderx, and then you'll find it to download. I see my sister is in the house, Lady Gwen. Thank you so much. She's an amazing person, She's writing a book, and I read the book this morning. And Esther, I think you should talk to Lady Gwen. So she's coming up with a book, Naked and Squared, and it was such a refreshing experience waking up this morning. I sent her a voice note and, just talking about her story. And I told her, I said it was one of the most powerful stories that I've ever read. And, it's really interesting.
Beautiful. So, Lady Gwen, please kindly send me a DM. Let's connect. Kemi knows me. I love it when I can share a good story. It gives me joy.
Oh, yeah. No, a powerful story, Esther.
Yeah.
Powerful story. Powerful story.
Storytelling is one of the most important tools in actually, one of the most important tools that inspire folks out there. But the thing is, we are in a world rather where people are ready to judge. So I always tell people, before you share that story, make sure you have a thick layer of skin. Because listen, people are ready to dissect and find this and in your head, they're like, listen, I shared this story to inspire people. So, Lady Gwen, I'd like to connect with you, and see what we can do together. This is what we're talking about, women supporting women. So you never know who you are going to meet through someone else and how that just blow into something beautiful. So, Toby, thank you so much. I see all your hype. And for those who are going to watch this on YouTube, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow Kemi Ogunkoya to know more about our work. Believe me, this woman is power-packed. And I also hope that I'll be able to host that one of these days. So this is open on our Facebook page, for women in my community. We have over 150K women. And I think they should hear you talk. You should hear you share. It is very, very important. So Kemi, thank you very much for your time once again. I really do appreciate it. I wish you well. Leaderxapp. I'm going to download it. Hi, woman. Sorry. Hi, woman. Don't worry. We'll continue. Ken and I will talk. And like I said, beyond Instagram, because I've got a larger community on Facebook. And I'd like for us to, take that conversation to that community as well, because I feel like when it comes to leadership conversations with women, most people are still fighting to understand the grace they carry as leaders. So they're still behind. And if we're not there, you and I and all the women who are out here, to push them to the front burner, talent would go to waste. Right? So yes, we'll work something out by God. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. And
Thank you. Thank you. Have a beautiful Sunday. My kind regards to your family. Bye. Toby, I'll catch you later.